Hey, what it is, what it do to the Just Keep It Real crew. Welcome back to another episode of Just Keep It Real, where we're keeping it real one episode at a time. I'm your host, the Real McCullough, and thank you all for tuning in to yet another special interview. Y'all, we are moving right along. We are in the second half of season 5. We are moving so quick. Make sure you drop down below in the comments what episode has been your favorite episode so far. We also got some heavy hitters coming in on the second half. You will not be disappointed. Thank you all for tuning in. I know we didn't post anything this previous Monday. That's fine. But I also had a special announcement coming up. So if you didn't see it, go ahead and go to my Instagram, Just Keep It Real Podcast, to check out that announcement. We're not going to prolong the time. We have an incredible guest joining us today. We have Miss Taronna Perkins, a woman of resilience, strength, and purpose. She is a domestic violence survivor who transformed her pain into purpose by becoming the CEO and founder of Becoming Her Inc. She is a certified life coach and motivational speaker. She's a 2-time best-selling and international author, and she's also a mentor. She's also the CEO. We got us a businesswoman, y'all. The CEO of Glow Her Cosmetics and Becoming Her Essentials, and the Hustle for the Muscle Authentic line. Without further ado, please help me welcome my good friend, Miss Taronna Perkins. How you doing today?
Hey, beautiful. Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm doing good today. How are you?
Thank you for taking the time to come on to the show. I know we have been busy. We be playing phone tag, going back and forth. Listen, y'all,
Yes,
when
we
you're
do.
moving, is like you already heard. You got multiple business, so you stay busy. Not to mention what you do on your downtime. But it's just, I'm just so honored to have you on the show. Thank you for coming on and being a
No
part of the
problem.
show. It is just an honor to have you here. But I'm going to give you some time to introduce yourself to the audience. Anything that I didn't
Okay.
cover that you feel like you want the audience to know about you.
Okay. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing me to come on your amazing platform. I'm so proud of you, of your growth and everything that you're doing. I know God is just taking you higher and higher and higher. And I'm just so grateful to be able to see it and to watch you grow. And I love you so much. Oh, you're welcome. What can I say about me? I feel like I have gone through so much in my life that I'm so glad that I was able to turn pain into purpose and being able to help others do the same. Like a lot of times, pain can be a lonely road, but you don't have to stay there. And I thank God for allowing me to be able to help others. I do have a surprise coming out, a new book that's going to be coming out in June, and it's called Life Lessons That Lust Created. And it's about being in the wrong relationships, looking for things in a person that is not love. Most of them were lustful. And we'll get into that. Let's see what else I have going. I guess we can go ahead and announce it. I will be having my first conference in October called Baggage Check. And your girl is gonna be one of the speakers. I can't wait. We're gonna be unleashing and letting go of unnecessary baggage that no longer feeds us, and we're gonna leave all that unnecessary baggage behind. So you guys be on the lookout for that. That is coming in October 18th, 2021.
Yes, y'all. If y'all don't know it, now y'all know. Like I said, y'all got it. That's why y'all have to be tuned in to the Just Keep It Real podcast on Instagram, because my team has been dropping episodes. We got things moving. I'm just so grateful to my JKIR team. Thank y'all for being with me, holding it down, supporting me, rocking with me through so far. This was a new thing we were introducing this season, and thank you all for just sticking with me. But you make sure y'all go tune in, because that's where a lot of the announcements will come in from what I'm doing and also what the show is going to be doing. But thank you for just taking the time and being with us. We're not going to prolong the time. We're going to go ahead and jump into the episode. And today we're going to be talking about developing a growth mindset. So before we jump into the topic and get into what we're really going to get to the thick of what we're going to be talking about, when you hear the word develop a growth mindset, what does that mean to you?
Developing a growth mindset is that first thing you have to do is stop overthinking. I think a lot of times we overthink, or we feel like whenever we have things that we're passionate about that we want to do, then we automatically be like, I can do that. Ain't nobody gonna support me, but we automatically go with the negativity, and you have to change your mindset. What does that scripture say? Don't be transformed of the word, but be
You'll
transformed
be
of the renewing of your mind. Like, you have to renew your way of thinking. It's so important to change your mindset, because what you think is what you're gonna do. So it starts with the thinking process. So definitely think that you got to change your way of thinking. You have to think positive, and you have to produce positivity in the atmosphere. If you produce negativity, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get negative results, and you're going to psych yourself out of your success.
I definitely agree with you 100% with changing. You have me an overthinker because I'm definitely an overthinker. But I'm not gonna add. I'm gonna add to that just a little bit. But when I hear you
Okay.
develop a growth mindset, I resonate with you with Romans 12:2. I to the T,
Yeah.
do not be conformed to this world. And when you think about the world, already has a viewpoint of how we should think, where we should
Mhm.
be at by a certain age. Things that we need to accomplish, but we need to check with God first because He is the author of our story,
Yes.
the author and finisher of our faith. And He knows our beginning, our middle, and our in between before we even get
Yeah.
to the end. So when you think about developing a growth mindset, your mindset got to change from thinking how you used to think to put on a new form of thinking. And it's
Exactly.
easier said than done because when you do it one day, the next day you ain't gonna want to do it. Especially when you start
Hmm.
seeing a change and then you really start to getting into, what I'm looking at another perspective. I'm changing like certain and then when your mind is on board and your mind controls the body. So if your mind ain't right, your body's not going right because your mind sends the
Hmm.
body all the signals, all the cues, the lefts, the rights, and everything. So if your mind is discombobulated, if your mind is caught up in the wrong thing, your body's gonna follow what your mind do. So you want to make sure that your mind is right, that your mind is on point, that you have a growth mindset, so your body and everything else could follow. It's the exact same way with Christ. How we calculate if we of ourselves are not where we need to be, if we're so caught up in ourselves, then how can we follow Him?
Right.
He's the head of the church. He's our head. So we look to Him for guidance to guide us. Your mind is the head. Your body follows what your mind does. So you have to make sure your mind is on point. Your mind is tight so your body can be tight.
Exactly.
Got to hashtag keep your hashtag
Okay.
that. We're gonna do that. But I'm trying to tell you. So how would you say your personal journey has helped you develop the growth mindset? What steps do you feel your personal journey has played a part in you switching your mindset?
First, I had to come to the realization and hold myself accountable, right? A lot of times we tend to blame everything on everybody else, but you have to take a real look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable. And once I began to hold myself accountable to the things that I did, it was helped me to start healing in those areas. Once I began to heal in those areas, then I began to change my way of thinking, because I was living in a trauma response type of mentality and not looking at things from a growth perspective. For example, let's say, like I was telling you, girl, you kind of ashy, you need to put some lotion on. You kind of ashy, but I don't want us to go in here. You got ashy like that. Your response, if you have a trauma mentality and you don't have no growth, would have been a negative response. Like, you would have thought I was talking about you, or trying to be funny and stuff like that. So it creates a trauma response instead of, oh girl, good looking out. You know what I'm saying? Type of response. So whenever we go through those situations and things, and when we're triggered, it creates a trauma response. And as long as you're responding in a trauma way, there is no growth. You can't think from a growth mindset, or to even develop yourself in the areas that you need to grow in, because you're still thinking traumatic and still living out those trauma triggers. So once I started to learn those things about me, I began to say, you know what? God said I can do all things. And if God says I can do all things, and if I have faith, then whatever I put my mind to, I can do. But I have to have Him first. I can't do anything without Him. He has to be in everything. And so then you can start to develop yourself in areas that you know what? Like I said, like Michaela, like, you know what? You pray really good. Can you teach me how to pray? Can you help me develop in this area? Not that I feel like I can't do it, but I know that you can do it a little bit better than me. So yes, I'm gonna be like a sponge and want to learn. we have to be able to, you have to be willing to learn in order to grow. And that means you have to be able to go into uncomfortable areas about yourself that are uncomfortable that you can develop and grow in. Asking for help. A lot of times we don't want to ask for help because we feel like it makes us weak.
Mm-hmm.
No, in order for you to grow, you're gonna need some help and some assistance, some guidance. If I wanna, for example, if I wanted to write a book and I ain't never wrote a book before, what's wrong with me asking someone for help who's already done it? That don't make me weak. That actually makes me smart to go and ask for help instead of making the wrong choices and making the mistakes that I didn't even have to make if I would have just opened my mouth and asked for help.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in those areas, you have to learn how to first take accountability. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Be willing to grow. Understand who you are. That's the main thing. Who are you and what you like and what things that makes you who you are. Not titles, but who are you as an individual. And then just start to grow in the areas that you feel like you need to grow in. You shouldn't still be doing the same things you were doing 20 years ago. That means your mental is messed up. Your mentality is messed up, or you giving up on yourself. So I think growth is also a choice. You have to choose to grow.
That's it. That's it. That's it right there. Now, when you said just listening to your spots, like it's just what I'm thinking is like we thinking on the same thing. So I'm just like, okay, I can't repeat what she just said. But the one thing that you said after that stuck out to me that I was just thinking was the with the growth mind, you got to choose to grow because growth does start with you. You have to make the choice. And then I also think about with your mentality changing. You can if your mind is still stuck where you used to be, like I said, those trauma responses. And I can say this from a person that I grew, and I tell everybody this, that, when I was starting my healing journey and really starting stuff, even though we have physically got out of the abusive situation, my mind was still trapped in abuse. I was still operating like I was still living at the same household with my abuser,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't. Like a few months and a year had went by, and I was still operating like I was still that little girl that was stuck in that one place in those four walls, but I'm in a whole nother atmosphere. So it's true, your mind got to change. You can be free, but your mind has to be set free. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. So my mind was so trapped in my old past. So I wasn't living like I was free. I mean, I knew I was free, but I wasn't living like I was free because my
Right.
mind wasn't free. So that's why I was saying
Mm-hmm.
your mind controls the body. And that's why Satan is
Yes.
so after our minds, because if he could get the mind, he
Yes.
could control the body. My mind was trapped. So then my body started responding to the signals that my brain was putting out. The thoughts that I was having, my
Mm-hmm.
body was operating off. It was going off of those emotions. It was going off those feelings. So it's true. The change had to start with me. I had to come to a point where I was like, God, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of
Right.
living like this. I'm tired of thinking this way. I said, and the help is available. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to choose to go to it. And especially with our culture, and I hate using, the race card, but with Black
Right.
women, we're so made to, we carry so much. And
Oh.
when women when especially in our culture, when we want to sit down and take a break, we're lazy, we don't want to do nothing, we're this, we're that. But we carry so much as women, as Black women. We carry so much, and it's so heavy on us when we're made to look bad when we just say, hey, I need a break, or hey, I need some help. And they ridicule us for saying we need help or saying that we need a timeout.
Correct.
But we have to get this, we got to stop looking at that.
Yeah, most
Don't look
definitely. To piggyback off that, one of the main things that helped me through with my abuse was the fact that I had to forgive myself for allowing the abuse to continue. A lot of times I would beat myself up like, "Oh, you so dumb, you so stupid, why you just gonna do it?" Not understanding that my words are more hurtful to myself than if somebody else said them to me. Watch this, because when somebody else said to me, oh, I got a response back. We get into that protective mode, that go to war mode. Now I'm ready to fight and stuff like that. But when you say it to yourself, Pierce is different. And so as long as I was keeping myself, like you said, in that bondage mentality, I couldn't see no good. Somebody could tell me, trying to like, you're so beautiful. Girl, I wouldn't think that, oh, they want something from me. What's your motive? Like, I would automatically go there. Instead of saying, you know what, thank you, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're still stuck in the trauma, you can't see anything but trauma or negativity. And that's where, like you said, your mind development has to change, but you gotta want it. And it's not until and I hate that for us as women. I just say women because we feel like we super, Superman. Can't nobody do it better than us. Can't nobody carry it better than us. Can't nobody cover it up better than us. We can be broken, torn down, about ready to break, crack, but we still walk outside, glowed up like we don't have a care in the world, but be dying on the inside because we're afraid to say, you know what, today is not a day. Today is just not a good day for me. Like, I really need to call and talk to my friend, or I really need to call and talk to somebody because I can't take it anymore. But it's when you get to that breaking point that you finally be like, okay, now I think it's too much. But it's been too much for 10, 15, 20 years.
We gotta do better. We got to do
Gotta do
better. We're
better.
just speaking for like and asking for help. And everything we're telling you, it is not like we pros at it. No. I wouldn't even
No,
consider myself on the like on a high list. I would probably say maybe immediate, like, I'm probably at the middle somewhere. It's easier said than done. This is practice. You have to practice and
yeah.
continue to do something. So, but when you learn from what you used to do, you can grow from it. It's a stepping stone. It's a learning block. And you can
Mm-hmm.
just keep going and you keep going and you keep going, you keep trying, you keep pushing. But your mind has to be on board because, as we just said, you can't do you may want to your body may want to do better, but your mind is like, no, we ain't you good. You good. That mind got to be on board first before everything else can be on board. But can you share a moment with us where you had to push past the limits where all odds were stacked against you?
Just one? No. Okay, I'll go back to one that is very dear to me. When I was in my abuse, I took the abuse for 12 years. It wasn't until my daughter was in, and it's like I became a mother hen. And at that moment, it was like, okay, it's gonna be you or it's gonna be me. And it ain't gonna be me. Never did understand why I took it and stayed time after time after time until I didn't know what my daughter was. And it was like something just snapped inside me. I thought, no, not my baby. But the reality was I had my kids in danger the whole time because I continued to stay. The licks got harder. Every time I tried to run away, he will find me, come back. I will go back. He say he ain't gonna do it no more. It just became a cycle. It's a cycle. And it became normal behavior, right? Because now I'm starting to watch what I say, I talk it all, changing everything about me to accommodate this person so that they don't become angry and become abusive. That was the mentality. And then it got so bad to where I was like, okay, Tony, I'm gonna say that. Like leaving wasn't even an option. It wasn't even a part of my thought process until my baby was in danger. And I tried to hurt him. I did. I did that. I did that.
Listen
And
here.
then when I got in trouble for it, I blame God. Why would you do this to me? And he the one who's always this how I'm talking. He the one who's always attacking me, doing this, and you would take him away from me. And God said, I did that or you did that. I was like, because that was your choice. I gave you chance after chance after chance to get away. Because he started bringing back to my memory every chance I had to get away. I went back. And it wasn't until that moment I had to accept. I can't just be mad at him for abusing me. Played a part in it. That's rough. And a lot of people may not agree with me, but that's true. I kept myself there because I couldn't think past this marriage. Because outside in the public, when that door open and we go outside, we the perfect family. When we come back in this house, I'm in hell. But out here in these streets, Claire Huxtable, you know what I'm saying? We that. Nobody knew I was being abused for that long. Not even my parents. But it was my mindset that if I can fix whatever he's complaining about, the licks will stop. That was my mentality. Never, Taronna, you don't deserve this. Taronna, you don't need to be in this. Taronna, you can survive without this. None of those things. Why? Because it was the way I was thinking. But then when that snap moment came, all I could think about was my baby. And at that moment, I could not allow another lick to come across my face, another punch, another choke, none of that. And my baby was 2 years old, and I thought I would never see it again. And that was the first night I ever got on my face and prayed to God for him to bring my baby back. You know they say be careful what you ask for. He brought her back. I beat him with a bat. I could kill him. I did.
But hey,
Did
we keeping
I
it real.
did
We keeping
that.
it real. We
I
keeping
did
it
that.
real. That's not there. Listen, nothing over here. We keeping it real.
I did that. And then had the audacity to get mad because God set me down. Not only did he sit me down, he's gonna make me. He's gonna make me get. He got my attention. He set me down. So now I'm in jail for, assault. I get a court-appointed attorney who hates women. Like this man, they could hang me for all he cares. I've never been in trouble, nothing. And I'm like, you gotta fight for me. He wasn't trying to hear it. But I don't know at the time that he's going through what he's going through. So every time we have a court, girl, we just arguing. It's like I'm talking to my husband because we're arguing every time. He just kept sticking me back to myself. Girl, months would go by. Months would go by. He would come back and be like, okay, you ain't for this time. I'd be like, no, I'm not. Oh, then you send me back to him. Like we went through that cycle for like 8 months. 8 months. And God told me one day I was just crying. I was so hurt that I was there, And he said, I need you to write him a letter. I write him no letter.
Mm.
I said, "It's there." Like, no. Why would I want to write him a letter for? Why would you even tell me that? What are you going to do about getting me out here? This time I'm talking, sitting on the bed. What are you going to talk about? Like, no, I'm not writing no letter. And it's like, he's hurting. I said, oh, I am too. Like, if he was sitting right here with me, I am too. I need you to write the letter. And I'm writing it angrily.
Mm.
There's
You're such and such.
All right, I get through it. So I said about 3 weeks go by, and they told me I had a lawyer visit. He comes, and girl, this time I'm gangster with it now because I'm sick of his mess. And so I'm sitting there like this,
What's up?
like, what's up? Like, what you
Yeah.
gonna tell me? Good news or is it bad news?
Mm-hmm.
He comes, and I look at him, and I'm like, okay, he looked different.
Mm-hmm.
First thing he did, I got the letter, and he said, I'm so sorry that I haven't called for you. I've been going through a divorce. My wife cheated on me, and I just really just hated women. But that has nothing to do with you, and I treated you unfair. And he was like, I know the DA. I'm gonna talk to the DA and see what we can do. You only have one more chance because I know stop. I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going. Like no. And that's I only got one more.
Mm.
Oh, we got
Well,
one more. No. He says, I'm talking to him. I said, okay, because it's been 8 months and I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. My kids need me. He's like, it's been 8 months. Girl, he didn't even realize I had been in jail that long.
mm.
So I go back and I'm like, well, oh God, something good is gonna happen. I'm so happy. So I get back there and they say, they tell me pack up my bag. I'm gonna go to the trustee tank. And I said, to the trustee tank, I'm not supposed to go to the trustee tank. I haven't signed for no time yet. I'm supposed to go to the trustee tank. This time I'm talking to the lady. And she's like, I want to get your stuff and come on with me. I said, no, you didn't go take. I'm not supposed to be going over because then I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, what you told me, like this, I did what you did. So now I'm like, what's really going on? Because some
Mm-hmm.
people that were people who have signed for their time and are going over there getting 2 for 1 and all this something like that. And it took me
Yeah.
20 back to go.
Yeah.
So now I'm mad at God again.
Mm.
Now I did this and you do this and I'm pissed. Pissed off.
Girl.
So then the officer comes over and she goes, come on, Taronna, you gotta go down here, you gotta go clean Judge such and such office. You know, and I'm mad because now I got clean all day. The whole now I'm really pissed. Hey, yeah, so I'm cleaning up this judge's office and I cleaned her office, and so one day she just finally just said, like, Taronna, what are you in here for? You seem like a sweet person. Like, what happened? And I said, well, I was in a abusive marriage, and I had a snap. And I assaulted him. You know, I know it was wrong, I said, but he had took my baby. I didn't know what it was, and it just is what it is. And she was like, women are always getting caught up in situations like this. And she said, I'm so sorry that happened. He said, but you know what? I feel like it'll work in your favor. I said, I hope so. I said, I've been here so long. Like, by this time, I've been here like 10 months. I'm just ready to go home. So then I said, Christmas is coming up. I've never missed Christmas. I'm just feeling really down. She's like, well, you know what? Go down there to the chat on Thursday. Tell him, that I sent you and that you wanted to be on the wish list. And I was like, okay. So I go down there and I get on the wish list, right? Put my girls' names on there and he hands me this book. I'll never forget it. It was Mashed Potatoes. He chose nails. And this book is about the last days of the resurrection. And so I went and I read the book. I read the book in one day. It was so good. And the most powerful thing was, it says as they were hammering the nails, he was calling out people's names, saying, the Father, forgive, just calling out all these people. Every time he got hit with a nail. And I just felt so convicted. And I just surrendered right then. And I said, Lord, I don't know what you're doing. I know I can't do this by myself. And I know I don't want to be here. But whatever your will is for my life, I accept it. I know my girls are good. They with my mama. I don't have to worry about them being with them. And I was just like, and Lord, any unforgiveness that's in my heart, remove it. I'm tired. I'm tired of living like this. And I said, I just want your will to be done for my life. And I just ask that you forgive me for all my sins, knowing and unknowing. And so then 2 days later, they said I had a lawyer visit. Okay. But they didn't take me into the room where I normally meet my lawyer. They took me to the courtroom. And I was like, oh, Lord, you working.
You were
You know how on TV, like on Law and Order, when they had that courtroom, had a big old eagle on the floor.
yeah.
Girl, I must have lost it. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the bench." But I'm like, okay, God, I trust you. If this is what it is, I'm okay because I have surrender, right? So I get there and I look at my lawyer. I'm looking at him like, what are we doing here? He just smiling. He's like, are you ready for that? I'm like, what are you smiling for? Like, now I went back down. So like, I kind of forgot all about the conversation I had. He was like, today is going to be a good day. I'm just nervous and I just got my head down. And so um, he's talking to me. And he says, okay, because I can tell that he knew I was nervous. I was shaking. And I'm standing here and the judge walks in. And I heard her voice. And I looked up and I just instantly started crying. Because it had been the judge's office I had been cleaning for the last 3 months. And she said, are you ready to go home? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I'm dropping all your charges. And I'm giving you time. She said, just from me knowing you these last 3 months, you just made a bad. She said, I went and personally grabbed your file. And she said, I can't have you home by Christmas, but it won't be but like a week after. I said, that's fine. And I cried and I celebrated that my lawyer told me, he said, thank you. And it was in that moment that I knew that the surrender. I'm sorry, I get emotional every time.
Listen, I'm crying. We cry together. We cry together.
Because of the power of forgiveness and surrender and accountability that I had to go through to finally let go. And not only that, she said, I'm granting you your divorce.
Double blessing.
And gave me focus.
Trip, what? Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
I just want to thank you, man. I got to thinking and looking back. Everything that God did was a lesson, and I had to continue to push through. But I was growing, and He was changing my mindset because I had to look at things differently and realize that I was traumatized. Everything that I did was a reaction of trauma, was a trauma response. The reason why I couldn't get out of the abuse is because of the abandonment and the neglection I felt from my father. So when it became abuse in my marriage, it still felt like neglection and rejection. And because I haven't dealt with it, I'm holding on to it. Feel it again. How many times do we hold on to things that we need to let go because we're afraid to feel what used to hurt? But in my mind, oh, I can fix this. I can fix it. It wasn't never supposed to be attached to me. I was supposed to let it go a long time ago, but I held on to it. That was Taronna's fault. But now, baby, no. I can walk in the room with that man, don't even have to worry about nothing. I can have a conversation with him and don't feel anything. I can continue to move forward and not worry about any of those things because I took accountability. I asked for forgiveness. I accepted those things and those choices that I made. Figured out what I needed to fix within myself and began to work on those things. A lot of times our past is ugly, but the past is there to create you to go for your purpose. You have to go through those bumps in the road. You have to go through some of those trials and tribulations. You have to go through the pain and suffering. Why? To get to growth and to elevation. If you don't ever go through anything, how are you going to teach somebody else to get through it? If you don't grow, you're going to continue to stay stagnant. And that's not God's fault. That's our own fault. So God said we are wonderfully made in His image, and we can do anything. But we hold ourselves in our past. We hold ourselves in bondage, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But it all starts with mental, like you said, because the battlefield is the devil's playground in the mind. Because all he has to do is put the thought in there. We
Mm-hmm.
take it down. We take it down the street, around the corner, back, come back with it, carry it to the next one. But all he did was put that thought in there, and we let it go. So I think that's my most memorable one and my most powerful one because I learned so many things and that I wouldn't have learned on my own. And what's so crazy is I realized God was tired. I wasn't tired, but He was so tired of me going around this circle. Yeah, let me sit you down. So you don't see what I see. Let me let you see it from a different perspective. Or I would have kept doing the same thing. That's unconditional love right there. I'm so glad He loved me enough to sit me down and bless me too at the same time. No. Would I learn something? I learned something. And now I can go and tell somebody else, you can get out. But do you want to? That you gotta ask the right question. I can help you. I can show you some resources. I can tell you. I can provide some places for you to go. But do you want to get out? Some do, some don't. I was one who did not. I can say that today. Would I have said that 20 years ago? No. It's hard, but it's deep because as a woman, I wanted to keep my family together. I grew up with two parents in the household. I don't know what it was like to be no single mother. I wasn't raised by one. But the mental, even though this don't feel right, even though this is wrong, it can't be. We have to stay together. But sometimes we have to undo the things that we see.
I tell you, just listen. You may not believe it. We done covered a whole segment. I have one, but that's one thing about it. It's just not being scripted. For me, I tell all my guests that came on here that, I keep an outline just to kind of track of where we're at, but I don't go directly off the script
Right.
because it's to God be the glory. If He comes in, wants to take it another way, it's not about what I may see it. It's about what whoever I have on my show may say that God's trying to get that message to that one particular person. So if I'm just so strict, if I'm so strict of going off paper, how's He going to operate? Because it's my way, not His way. But just hearing you talk about that, the testimony and how you were able to overcome and how healing, girl, don't get me crying over it. Listen here, listen here. Ooh, I can't get too many details about the next episode. I said, y'all wait. The last episode, there was definitely some tears, but it's just the hearing of the testimonies. And, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. That's how we overcome. That's how we are able to look back at what God has brought us from and to know that if He didn't leave us then, He's not going to leave us now. He didn't bring us this far to be like, okay, now you on your own. No, He's with us until the end of the age. So when you think about it, He's always with us. He's never going to leave us. So just to hear that, it brings joy and it brings encouragement and it strengthens us in our faith to know that this is not our stopping point. We may be at a bus stop, but we're not stopping. We still got to get on another place to go to another destination. But when I hear we talk about it, just, I'm not gonna add to that. I'm a whole with because if we stay right here, I'm gonna get to crying and really get to talking.
We're gonna have church.
Listen here, that's a whole other But we're going to talk about, you transferred your pain into purpose. Your motto is hurt people hurt people. So make sure
Yes.
you heal and turn your pain into purpose. When you develop that motto, how can someone who is just now hearing this, where's their starting point when they hear this?
The mirror. It has to start with self. And self means looking yourself in the mirror, really looking at you and being completely authentically honest with yourself. I mean, I go so far with it. In my coaching class, I tell them you have to look at yourself in the mirror in your nakedness and love every scar, every emotion, every pooper, everything about yourself. And I want you to say 5 things about yourself, positive things that you love about yourself. And every day you have 4 things because we don't talk to ourselves in a positive way. That was so hard. That's so hard because as women, we're quick to take a shower, run by the mirror, put the towel on, go put the clothes on, then come back to the mirror. No, start at the mirror because that's where you can't hide nothing. But see, when you put clothes on, you cover it so you can hide it. But now look at it for what it is. And I tell them like a scar, that's a battle wound. That means survival. It didn't take you out. It didn't kill you. Love that. That's a reminder of what you made it through. Us is when we complain all the time about how big our stomach is, we don't like it. But you know what? If you're a mother, they would have carried life with their stomach. So what is out of shape? If you want to get in shape, get in shape. If not, love it for what it is. Every stretch mark. Why? Because you have to push to bring your creation of life in the world. Accept it, embrace that, love that. Scars are there remind you of what God saved you from and what you made it through. You love it. And if it's something about you that you don't like, but love it. Baby, I tell everybody, man, I love you. I love everything, even to the brokenness of my life. I love it because God has blessed me and been so good to me. There's so many times I've been dead and gone. He saved me. He spared me. And He gave me this. Because He said I made Him His image. So this is what He gave me. I dare I now love it and accept it. So the first place you gotta start with the mirror. That's your first place. So
Got to get in the mirror. Got to get in the mirror and
got
look
to
at
get in
yours.
there.
Listen here. I'm trying to tell you that got to get in that mirror. I be with you at first because jump out the shower. What wrong? But I can't even add to that. Get in the mirror, look at yourself, and talk to yourself.
That's for real.
I did that. I have an affirmation on my mirror every morning. I'm not gonna lie, I be slacking when reading it, but sometimes when I'm really going through, I got to get in that mirror. And I read that affirmation card. And I say it
Yeah.
out loud every time. A lady at my church gave it to me. And I read it every time. And when I read it, I say with some power and some authority in my voice.
Mhm.
Because you gotta tell Satan that's in your ear. You gotta tell that I'm not that. Oh, no, I'm
Right.
fearfully and wonderfully made. No, I'm more than a conqueror. No, I'm beautiful. No, I'm this. Like you gotta tell that because when you say it out loud, you
Yes.
speaking it. There's power in the tongue. The power of life and
Yes.
death is in the tongue. You can either
Yes.
speak life to yourself or you can speak death to yourself. But you got to get in that mirror. We're not gonna add that. But so you
At
found
all.
it, Becoming Her
Mhm.
Incorporated. Tell us
Mhm.
about the mission that you have about your business.
Okay. Becoming Her Incorporated was after I had made it through the divorce and everything. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. I had become who He wanted me to be, not who Taronna was. So becoming her is basically about finding out who you are, loving yourself unconditionally, turning your pain into purpose, and helping the next person do the same. A lot of times we get caught up in not even just relationships. I'm gonna say friendships. Sometimes we become who we think our friends want us to be and not who we are. So all this time you're walking around with this masquerade version of yourself and not knowing who you are. So that's what becoming her represents. The real you, the woman that you were meant and destined to be, and loving her, knowing what she wants to do in life, going after your purpose and helping another sister on the way, get up and inspire her, encourage her. Because like I said, sometimes it be lonely. Pain be lonely. But I tell my mentees all the time, be an inspiration, not a hindrance. But sometimes your friend can hinder you so bad and not even knowing they do. By saying, "Girl, I don't even know why come you doing it, girl. I would never do that." But that's why I can't talk to you.
Yep.
So that's why whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to hold it. Because you're going to judge me. You're going to make me feel less than. So I'm just going to put this mask on and I'm good, but I'm really dying inside. So I always ask them, be the type of friend that you want to be to somebody else. And would you be friends with you? Would you be your friend? Like, ask yourself that. What type of friend are you? Would you be your friend? And we have to understand that a lot of people suffer in silence. So whenever you become the woman that you have destined to be, go out and help somebody else. Be the best version of them. That can be anything from helping somebody with your services that you may provide, giving somebody some creativity, supporting another sister, being an ear to for them to talk to, not to go talk about. Like all those type of things that we have to get in the mindset that we don't have to be ashamed of the things that happen to us. Because there's so many women out here that suffer that and going through the same things we have, but are afraid to talk about. So becoming her within creates that safe space. There's courses that help you find out who you are. There's the destination to becoming her, which means you find out who you really are and start to let go of the pain. But it's a process. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. You can carry on for 30 years. You don't think you're gonna get rid of it in 2 days.
Mm-mm.
That's not realistic. There's unleashing trauma, dealing with trauma the right way. There's a mentorship program and there's counseling services. In December, I graduate and become a licensed therapist. I'm so excited about that because that's just where my passion is. Because I should have went to go talk to somebody, but people say you go talk to somebody crazy. Something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm traumatized and I don't know how to deal with it. And it's affecting every area of my life. So that's what Become Her is about. With that, I started that because I said I thought I'm abused. I didn't know who I was. And I had to find which brings on Glow Cosmetics. And it stands for God's love of women. And each lip gloss has a powerful statement to it. Like if you're looking for like let's say like a light plum, that means you're fierce. So when you're putting it on, I'm fierce. And then there's like a lighter color that's neutral. I can do all things. I'm ready to do whatever today. I just want women to feel empowered and to love themselves. Because for so long we have beat ourselves and not loved ourselves unconditionally, waiting for other people to validate us. No, your first love is God. God loves you more than anything. And you have to see yourself like that. My daddy is a king. He loves me more than anything. Why would I allow somebody to treat me any kind of way? See, when you see yourself as royalty, when you see yourself for what you was created for, you ain't gonna let nobody play with you. Like, accept everything. You're not gonna deal with everything because I
Nope.
don't have to. My daddy said I don't have to.
He got something greater and better for me.
And you gotta
Mm.
love yourself. We gonna make mistakes. We are flawed. Pick yourself up, dust yourself out, get back up, and keep pushing.
Gotta keep
It's
holding on.
gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep pushing. So that's what Becoming Her Within is about, and how I came up with Glow Cosmetics because I just know that God loves us so much, and if us women would love ourselves the way God loves us,
Mm.
a lot of this pain and a lot of this hurt that we cause, I say we allow it. I'll be happy. Ain't no man gonna come over and play with me.
Mm.
But I ain't got time for this.
That part.
And what's your relationship like with God first?
That's it.
You gotta keep it moving.
To the left, to the left.
That's it. And that's just basically what it was about. Because when I came out of it, I didn't know who I was. I defined myself. And so that's why I want to inspire and encourage the next person. Don't be a hurt person that hurt people. Be a person who turns your pain into purpose. Because a hurt individual is lethal.
What, girl, you said something right there because that
Lethal.
hurt people. Your motto is so true. And I heard that so many times. And the crazy thing about it has just been so much you've been saying that it just resonates with me and, with the mind. Like I said, yeah, y'all got to get people that y'all
Yeah.
can really have a conversation with. And, And I just remember what we were discussing, talking about previously. And it just makes you think, and it's like not talking and going through it. It's just like, man, like just when you think about it, the power, the love of God and everything that we go through, it may not feel good. And even certain things
Right.
that, and that's what I struggle with too, with taking accountability and accepting it. And, there was a time in my life where I was, like you said, lethal. That wasn't a word for me. I mean, think deadly. That's just so ruthless. Like, and when I look at, things I used to do, because, of course, I was in high school, you take pictures and stuff like that. But some old videos, that may come back up on your Google Drive and stuff that you ain't seen in years. So some things I used to do and used to say and used to act, I'm like, I can't believe I used to act like that, because who I am now is not that same girl. And just because I was just operating out of hurt, and because I had gotten hurt, I started dating at the age of 12. I was such a child. I didn't have nothing. And I found my first boyfriend at the age of 12. He was a year older than me. So, well, we both came from broken homes. And people don't understand, you can trauma bond with somebody. That trauma bond is stronger than what you think, because just like you said, you stayed in it for so long. Because if it's something from your past and you find, and it's so crazy, because I thought I found everything in him. I thought I found, everything that my father was. I found it in him. He wasn't like, he didn't treat me like that. He didn't talk to me crazy. He never put his hands on me. He never made me feel less than a girl. I would say a woman, but I was a girl. In that moment, I was head over heels. I really thought I found the person that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. But things started to unravel. The cheating started to come in, and then with the cheating, then it became the emotional manipulation. Then from there, it became the verbal abuse, not from him, but from me, because I saw it like in a household. That's what I used to see. So I started operating out of that, because that's what I became a product of my environment. So what I was seeing going on, I started doing it, because I thought like, well, this is how a relationship is supposed to go. And we were extremely toxic. We were off and on for 3 years. And I really cut all ties with him in my 20s. Even though at that time we were just kind of talking, we were trying to figure out if we wanted to get back together and all, but something in me just knew there's too much pain with us. There's just too much hurt in the relationship. I remember more our bad times than our good times. And I can't see past that. Even though I've moved on, but I can't see past what has been done. And just being in that cycle of always like, you cheated, okay, we fuss, we fight, we break up, but we get back together. Same thing going on. But then when you start like, and I have been so fascinated with this dream I had. Like this, everybody want that American dream, the white picket fence with the dog, with the kids, with the man. Everybody wants that dream. I thought I had found that in him. And I was like, it got to the point where I was like, as long as he comes back to me, I'm okay. It didn't matter if he cheated, because he gonna come back to me, because I'm home. So he could go out and do everything else, but he gonna come back to the one that's gonna be here. And it was like, it got to the point where like we would break up and he got into some stuff, and I would leave the person that I was talking to or dealing with to go be by his side, and have so many people telling me like, he does that because he knows you're gonna come back. I said, but I'm home. I'm home to him. It's like, I'm all he knows. He's all I know. Like I said, you gotta understand, 12 and 13 years old, trauma bonded. When I found out his situation and he found out my situation, at that moment we made a decision. We wasn't gonna be what we were growing up in. We were gonna be better than that. We were kids trying to be adults in an adult relationship. Didn't know nothing about the commitment, the level of commitment. Because of what I wanted, I held him to a higher standard. And because of what he wanted, he held me to a higher standard. So when we failed, because we were kids, our minds wasn't developed to that point. We didn't know how to, we became a part of our environment. We became to what we saw. So after so long of just fighting and just going back and forward, I got to a point when I had to tell him, we had a heart to heart. And like, just like I said, after all the years of and like the hurt people, it goes into that, because he did me so wrong, I started hurting other people. And some people that came across me were good to me, were never disrespectful. But because I was hurt, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get you before you get to me.
baby.
I gotta go ahead and hurt you because you're not gonna get to me first. And sometimes I used to give them the weakest thing to open up about so they can think they got something on me, but they really don't. But then sometimes but just when you get so tied up in the cycle of abuse and you keep going and going and going and going and going. And at that point, like I said, I became very verbal abusive. I used to talk down. Used to beat him with the bat. One of the things I used to say to him, and I mean, I used to hit below the belt. I mean, below the belt. And because I knew his family situation, you would think I use that as ammo. I said, so I know how to push your buttons. I know what triggers you. The same way you know what triggers me. So when he used to say something to press on them buttons, I used to just throw shots and I used to speak so bad about him. I said, you would never be nothing without me. I said, I made you. You are nothing. Like, I mean, it got bad, but it got to the point where we had to have a conversation. And I had to ask for forgiveness. And some people was like, why didn't you have to apologize? I said, because it wasn't for him, it was for me. Because every man was gonna repay for what he did to me if I didn't forgive him. And I said, and also, if he doesn't forgive me, every woman is gonna repay for what I did to him. He's gonna treat it when a woman they get in an altercation, he's gonna go to a level of defense because he doesn't know what's gonna come out their mouth. He's gonna be scared to open up to somebody because he's gonna they're gonna use that against me in the heat of an argument. So in that moment, we at this point, I'm in my 20s. I done graduated from high school. I'm approaching college. I'm in college at this point, my freshman year. So we haven't seen each other in a good 2-3 years. So you would think, I ain't seen you in a long time. We trying to meet up so we can at least talk and, see if there's a spark somewhere within our relationship. But God was like, like I said, all types of flags, interception, throwing bricks, rocks. I'm one of them people. God got to hit me upside my head to get my attention. Everybody, God's special child. Talking to me don't work. You got to, and I'm not saying people got to hear. I'm just saying God got to do something. He know how to get to me, how to sit me down. Make me say uncle. He know how to get to me. So it was certain things. I was like, I'm trying to catch up attention here. And I'm just like, But God had to sit me down the hard way. It was nothing drastic that happened, but the situation caught my attention. And it just brought back everything. I was like, I had told myself, listen, you will always have a place in my heart. Small place. Well, I'm gonna say that now. A small place. Very, very small, because Jesus comes in, he has my whole heart. But I said, there's always gonna be a part of me that has a soft spot for you. Not in a way it's gonna make me bend over backwards. I said, I built a trauma bond with you that took me a while to break. So you got to think, I said, I was with you since I was a child. I said, I was 12 years old when we first got together. So we were kids. I said, we pretty much grew up together. I said, we went through high school, even though we went to 2 different schools, but we went through high school together. We went to early adulthood together. I said, we've been through the worst.
That was like your person.
That was my person. I said, you know why I stayed with you for so long? I said, I got to the point where I stopped looking at what you do. I looked at the dream that I had of us. I said, when me and you made that commitment that we were going to be better for each other, I said, that day I created that white picket fence dream that we were going to be the couple that made it through junior high, made it through high school. We still locked in. We gonna be #couple goals. We was gonna be locked in. You hear me? Locked in. But I said, when things started untangling and falling apart, I said, I was fighting for that dream. I said, I fell out of, and I said, I used to say love, but it was lust. I said, I fell out of love with you a long time ago. I said, the third time you cheated on me, I said, my feelings shifted for you then. I said, when you turned around and had a baby on me, I said, I lost all love for you. I said, because that was the worst thing you could have ever done to me. Saying because we were kids, we had made a pact. And I said, when you reneged on it the first time, I said, my respect changed. I said, but when you took it to another level and you created life, something that I wanted to be I'm telling y'all, I'm being 100% real. I wanted to be the first person that gave him a child. I wanted to be the first girl. I said, but when somebody else had that title, I said, my love for you went away. So I said, I fell out of love with you a long time ago. I said, but I fought for the dream because I thought just one day you will wake up and say, you know what?
And realize I'm the one that you can't live with that.
And I feel like, that's related to apart things like having these conversations, because I had to talk to my mom about something like that. And, that's something that she told me. She's like, I just thought that one day that light bulb would come on and be like, you know what? Let me get it together. Let me straighten up because I got something real right here. And when I realized that was never gonna come, I said, I had to let you go. I said, because I would have been still 20 something, still like now dealing with you. I said, you may not be the man for me. I said, but that don't mean you can't be that man for somebody else. I said,
Absolutely.
this point in our life, I said, I gotta let you go. So I've carried you for 3 years. I said, I've given you all that I could possibly give you. I can't give you another year. Can't give you another 6 months. At that point, we were only talking for like 2 months. I said, but I can't give you no more than this
No, for
because
real.
you can't go back to that mindset. I said, I
Mhm.
was so trapped. I said, I wasn't who I am now. So I had to, in that moment, you have to choose. And at that moment, I had to make a choice
Mhm.
because a lot of people, it's your first love. The first person
Man,
that you
that's
bonded
God.
with. That's the first. It's always the first. The first boy that made you feel fluttered. I said you were the first boy that
Butterfly.
made me. I don't know, made me feel like a princess. I said you were my first in so many things. And I said because I saw everything that my father wasn't at the time. I said that's why my bond with you was so strong. It took nothing but God, nobody but God to break that bond. And I had to start experiencing his love, how he saw, like you say, how he sees me, how he, like, they'll go as far as God loves me so much. He sent his only son to lay down his life. No man took his life. He gave up his life. So
For
when you
you.
think about it, I was like, when I realized that, I said, Jesus, I had to tell myself, listen, man, I said, so you may have love for me. I said, but you don't love me. I said, Jesus loved me so much. I said, he was willing to give up his life for me. I'm not saying you got to die for me, but I'm just saying the love that he has for me is unconditional. And this love that I have with him, can no man compare to it. And you can't give me what I need. Because at that point, Jesus started to deal with me then about my heart condition. But you got to make that change.
Yeah,
Your mind got to
you got
shift. And when your mind shifts, let it stay where it's at.
and you got to be ready. It's gonna cause some
Mm,
pain, and that's what some people don't understand. Their shit gonna cause some pain because when you tell you let some stuff go, you gotta let it go.
you got to give up something. You cannot carry, no, it's either his way or it ain't no way. Because he tells us,
That's it.
apart from him, we can't do anything.
Nothing.
He
He said
has to be the
nothing.
first, foremost. He has to be the head and the leader. And he won't come second to nobody. The same way we be saying we won't come second to nobody, God ain't gonna come second to nobody in our life. Not nobody, not a thing, not a career, not a nothing.
Come on, for somebody
And
who don't like cheating, baby, we be cheating on God for real.
we in a relationship with him. And so you gotta look at
In
it
a
to the
relationship.
listen, that's a whole part series, y'all. But whew, Taronna is in the last part, and before we, whew, girl, before we close, just whew, I've enjoyed our conversation. But if
I
you
always
could go to the younger Taronna, what is
mhm,
one piece of advice that you can give her?
everything wasn't careful, and that you are going to be an amazing woman one day, and that you will experience true love once you accept the love that God gives you, and you will be able to recognize true love and not lustful love, and to not always hold everything inside. Write in a journal, talk to God daily, and use your voice. For so many years, I never used mine. And it's so crazy. Sometimes I wouldn't talk with my pain. I would think it out. Like I would hear a song or think about a song. Just think it out. I wouldn't talk it. Because I feel like the more I talk, the more that created anger. And I would tell myself, don't be angry so long. I was angry for years. For so many years, just mad and mean to people. But I was hurt. Put that hurt down. Give it to God. He say, lay all your burdens. Why I carried hurt around and anger for around for so long, thinking I could deal with it, that I needed help. I needed God's help to deal with it because I didn't know how. That's why it kept me in bondage for so long. And to love yourself, everything about yourself, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly. Love everything about yourself. I was saying,
I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed this conversation about developing a growth mindset and the steps it needs to take to switch to a growth mindset. You gotta, first things first, you gotta be willing to acknowledge that you need help. You gotta be willing to accept the change that comes with you switching your mindset. And you gotta be willing to give up something when you start growing. And you can't, when the growing pains come, when them growing pains, because you're growing. when you think about how when you exercise, I'm gonna say this one thing, we're gonna move into our closing. But when you think about when you exercise for the first time and you wake up so sore the next day because you're using muscles that you've never used before, you done stretch things that's never been stretched before. That's how
Come
it
on.
is with us. When we start growing and really started changing our mind, there's some things that's gonna feel uncomfortable. There's some things that's gonna hurt because we've never dealt it before. We're used to being one way, but now you adapted to a whole nother. It's like when you come into Christ, your old life is passed away and you come
Come
into
on.
something completely new. So when you think
Yes.
about it, it's gonna be some pains because what you used to do, you can't no longer do it because now you're growing. You're not that same person. Your walk is changing, your talk is changing, your mind is changing, your body's changing, how you look on the outside is changing. It's gonna
Come
be
on.
some pains there because you're changing, you're growing, but you got to be willing to stay with the growing pains and knowing that. Just think about when you're gonna look at the light at the end of the tunnel. You may not even see the light, but just look at the light. It's like, you know what? When I'm gonna come out of this, I'm gonna be better than before. I'm gonna be stronger. I'm gonna be wiser. I'm gonna be healthier, but I'm gonna be better than where I was before. And that is the important key of it all. Just thank you for coming and just being so transparent
Thank you for having
and being so vulnerable and just giving us, just
me.
teaching us a growth mindset. I've definitely took some notes in my head that I'm gonna definitely
Oh.
into. But that's what I love about the show is hearing other people's testimonies and just you learn something every show. And every show I've had, I'm learning something new every day, learning something. And you got to be knowing you're not going. There's no certain age limit to learning something new. You better be willing to learn and be taking them nuggets because you never know. You help me see it in another perspective, the same way somebody else may see it, how I see it from another perspective. But it's all about being the light and just letting our light shine before men so that our Father in heaven gets the glory. But I just thank you for just coming and just being and just sharing your journey with us. Where can my audience find you and find out anything that you have going on? Where can we come and support you at?
Hey, on Facebook, I'm Taronna Perkins. My business page is Becoming Her Within. On Instagram, it's Becoming the number 4, the letter O. And then on TikTok, it's The Baggage Coach. And yes, that's all I'm on right now. That's for social media.
I understand.
Girl, I'm brand new with this social media thing. I like to get out there in the streets,
Mm,
talk to people, work with
gotcha.
them. I'm learning how to do the social media.
Make sure you guys go support Taronna and stay tuned to all the good things she got coming on. You heard we got the conference baggage check that your girl, the real Makala, will be a part of.
Straight up.
Y'all gotta come through. Y'all come out and support all my supporters that ain't never met me. Y'all come out to this event October 18th and go support and turn on your post notifications on my page and on her page so that way you don't miss any details and you be there so where you can learn something, check your baggage before you get on the plane and go to your next destination. Listen here. But thank you all for tuning in. Y'all, we are moving right along. We have made it. We are one episode away from the finale of season 5. I am so proud that we have come a long way. We have gotten here. And I'm just so grateful, so humble. Thank you all to my supporters who are tuned in and has been here rocking with us since the beginning. Make sure you follow me on all platforms on Instagram and TikTok at The Real Makayla. The Real, all lowercase, Makayla being spelled Michaeliaa. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and become a member of the Real One crew. Turn on the post notifications that way you do not miss another real, authentic, and chill, genuine episode. It has been real. Until be you, don't let nobody else change you. Somebody want to change you, they are not for you. Stay safe, stay prayed up, and always be willing to change your mind. And I'll see you all on the next time.